This is Batman. Security level, Omega, password, Delta Charlie, 27-5-1939, enable new protocol. Title, Agamemnon Contingency. File code name, False Sunday, his strength, invulnerability, and heat vision make him an unstoppable force, a living weapon without restraint. His thirst for power and lack of moral boundaries turns him into the greatest threat the world has ever faced. Standard containment is no longer an option. Neutralization is the only solution. His weakness lies in his ego and his need for public adoration. Isolate him from the people who worship him, undermine his carefully crafted image, and exploit his psychological instability. A coordinated strike with high-yield weaponry capable of matching his power output must be ready at all times. Failure to act swiftly and decisively will mean annihilation. Homelander isn't just a rogue asset, he's a global extinction event waiting to happen. He needs to be stopped, no matter the cost. Homelander is a narcissistic sociopath fueled by the need for power, admiration, and absolute control. To defeat someone like him without lethal force, I'll need to exploit the psychological fault lines beneath his godlike facade. His greatest vulnerabilities lie not in his physical strength, but in the carefully constructed perception of his supremacy. Tarnish his image, fracture his control, and his carefully masked insecurities will devour him from the inside out. He craves absolute reverence. Anything less is a dagger to his fragile ego. First, I isolate him. He relies on the adoration of the public and the approval of those who fear him. I'll use misinformation and staged operations to create moments where he fails in public, catastrophes where he appears responsible. Carefully leaked footage, fabricated evidence, and undeniable truths will suggest incompetence, cowardice, and recklessness. Make the public doubt him. When the crowd turns from cheers to skepticism, I create the seed of paranoia in his mind. He can't lash out publicly without affirming their fears. Once his reputation erodes, I cut off his support network. He thrives in an ecosystem where people either idolize or fear him. Systematically, I'll exploit his relationships, sowing distrust among his allies in Vought and beyond. Manipulate documents and digital communications to suggest betrayal from his closest confidants. Homelander's perception of loyalty is brittle. Once he suspects betrayal, he'll dismantle his own alliances in a desperate quest for control. His overconfidence in his power is his weakness. Despite his godlike abilities, he underestimates tactical strategy. I'll engage him in a controlled environment, a scenario where I force his hand with calculated distractions, designed to lead him into a trap he won't see coming. He assumes that raw power solves every problem, but my contingency involves neutralizing his senses. Blinding light, high-frequency sonic emitters beyond human hearing, and disorienting gas compounds specifically designed to irritate and dull his superhuman faculties will momentarily cripple him. His physical invulnerability means little if his mind is compromised. While his body can be broken, his psyche can. Through simulated visions, false memories, and psychological triggers based on his deepest insecurities, his fear of abandonment, his obsession with being the alpha, I'll lead him into a mental maze where he questions his reality. He prides himself on control. Once that erodes, panic follows. And panic breeds mistakes. In his moment of confusion and vulnerability, I make my move to contain him. A controlled magnetic field, paired with a polymer-based restraint system derived from the strongest elements known to science, will hold him just long enough to let his own fear of weakness overwhelm him. The goal is never to destroy him, but to break the idea that he is untouchable. He lives in constant fear of being seen as anything less than perfect. Let him feel that fear. Let him understand that in a world where power is everything, someone like me will always be 3 steps ahead. After that, leave him to marinate in his self-doubt. No cell can hold him permanently, but the idea that he's no longer invincible, that his throne of fear and admiration can crumble, is a prison he can never escape.